I'm on the forgotten ferry across London's forgotten thoroughfare, the Woolwich Free Ferry, which plies across the Thames a few miles downstream of the Greenwich Millennium Dome. It is, to many people's eyes, a rather grey and desolate part of London. But for Iain Sinclair, who's with me, a writer, novelist, Iain, you find this the most attractive part of London, you say?
Yes, it is my favourite part of London. And as you can see from going over on this ferry, on one side, looking to the west, you've got the modern London. You've got the wonderful geometric shapes of the Thames barrier. And yet behind you, looking downriver to the east, there is the stretch of water where the Victorian pleasure steamer, the Princess Alice, in coming into land, was split in half by a collier going upstream, and 650 people were drowned. And the strength of this river is such that especially near jetties or piers, the downpull is enormous. You vanish beneath the surface and it might be 7 miles before you emerge. So although for me the river is a beautiful place, it's a place where, as this evening, the light dances across the surface, you have a sense of the river opening out to the world. There's always behind you threat and danger.
Looking at the undistinguished architecture on the riverbanks on both sides, wouldn't you say that modern London has turned its back on the Thames?
I think modern London has turned its back on the Thames, or it's just waking up to the Thames. The Thames is now the designer battleground, but for too long we've turned our back on the river, because the river was the lifeblood of the city. The river was once vibrant with traffic, not only bringing people in from all over the world, but giving London a sense of being able to escape. If you failed in London, if things went wrong, you could always emigrate. Dickens is very fond of that trick. When characters have failed in his books, the sort of Micawber figure will get on a boat at the end, take to the river, get away to Australia and make a new life.
But Dickens writes about the Thames as a dirty, smelly, cadaverous river.
The Thames is a dangerous, dark, smelly, oily, disgusting place. And it's a dark back history for Dickens all the time. But nevertheless, I think he relishes it, he loves it, he loves that darkness. Conan Doyle, writing about the river, and many other mystery writers, they've always seen the river as a dangerous thing. It was the place for a pursuit. It was the equivalent to the detective car chase now. It would have been a river chase then.
But it seems that foreigners, painters like Whistler and Monet, have had a real fascination for the Thames in a way that Londoners haven't.
Well, native Londoners knew that the Thames was a barrier. People on the North Bank, people on the South Bank don't like each other's cultures. They don't like to cross the river. They stay on their own side. It took foreigners to come here, Europeans, people like Monet, who could stay in the Savoy Hotel on a balcony and look at the river, look at the alignments of the bridges. Someone like that would see the river as a thing of light and beauty. He would see the changeability of the river. And London is like nowhere else in the world. It's the most changeable and marvellous landscape that you could possibly imagine.
The Thames is not a big river. Our journey's over. The ferry has reached the other side. The good ship John Burns, named after a pioneer of municipal socialism, a Londoner as well. Iain, thank you very much for your company across the River Thames. Thank you.
I say, I've never had a smoother voyage.